I am the retired flying officer Dharmendra. This is the first video I am going to upload for your convenience, for your easiness, for the class of the 9th and 10th, all subjects. Slowly, I will keep doing it. It will help out those who are having the any kinds of the problem, particularly in the math, science, SST. They can have the question and answer session also. In this, we are going to talk about the chemical reaction and the equation. Gentlemen, we know that the chemical reaction in the every aspect of the life you find that everywhere surrounding the very frequently there is a chemical reaction is taking place. Then how to define the chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is a change in which the one or the more substances reacts each other and there is some new type of the product. Remember, gentlemen, when we talk about the new product, you should understand it has got the entirely different from the reactant. It can be the physically different, it can be the chemically different. We know that the how to come to know that there is a chemical reaction has taken place or not. There are few indications by which you can come to know the reaction has taken place. The first, the most of the cases you will find that there is a change in the state. Change in the state when we talk that the reactant is a solid, liquid or gas, that it will be different from the product. The second will be the change in the color. Third will be the evolution of the gas. The fourth is a change in the temperature, and the fifth is the formation of the precipitate. Sentima, if any kinds of the changes out of the five, if you see, there can be the chemical reaction. There can be the all the five cases, or there can be the one or two the odd cases. Then comes the why do we need to do the chemical reaction? The balancing, as you know, as per the conservation of the mass, we know that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. The everywhere you find that if there is a destruction, we are trying to destroy the any of the masses, it converts into the different form, and there is a lot of the energy is being produced. In the chemical reaction, also the same thing happens. As you know, there can be the reactant in the left of the chemical reaction. There are the two or the more reactants are there. Then they combine. There is a certain masses are there because these all the reactants are made of the element. So when there is a product, so by doing the chemical equation, we have to ensure that the mass which you have inside the reactant is equal to the product. The example of the unbalanced chemical equation, I will say, for example, the H2. We are taking the one molecule of the H2 and when it reacts with the one or another molecule of the O2, it is going to produce the H2O. Here, we know the reactant that the hydrogen and the oxygen gas, their state is a gas only. But H2, as you know, this product is H2O, this state is a liquid. But here, we are not sure. We find that there is a difference of the atoms. Here we find that hydrogen is 2, oxygen is 2, and there hydrogen is 2, but oxygen is in the product side only 1. The oxidation and the reduction, that is we call it combined, is a redox. The oxidation is a gain of oxygen or loss of hydrogen, whereas the reduction is a loss of oxygen or the gain of hydrogen. When we talk about the gain or loss of the hydrogen and the oxygen, we should understand it is a number of the atom we are accounting. वी आर काउंटिंग, हम नंबर काउंट करते हैं रिएक्टेंट में ऑक्सीजन के कितने नंबर थे और प्रोडक्ट में कितने हैं. साइमल्टेनियसली वी आर काउंटिंग रिएक्टेंट में हाइड्रोजन कितने थे और प्रोडक्ट में कितने बने. ठीक है. सो अगर गेन हो गया, नंबर ऑफ एटम बढ़ गया, तो उसको ऑक्सीजन बोलेंगे, ऑक्सीडेशन बोलेंगे. अगर उसमें हाइड्रोजन घट गया तो उसे ऑक्सीडेशन बोलेंगे. द रिडक्शन, द लॉस ऑफ द ऑक्सीजन और द गेन ऑफ द हाइड्रोजन. The redox reaction. A redox reaction is a combined reaction when the both oxidation and the reduction is taking place simultaneously. Example I will give you. The CEO, copper oxide plus H2O, H2, sorry, H2 is going to become the copper plus H2O. Here the copper oxide, we find that it is reduced to copper and the H2 is oxidized to. Okay, gentlemen, so this is our final slide. This is the end of the normal classes or the normal slides. However, The next slide, we are going to give the some of the important equations. You must memorize this because either for the balancing or sometimes the fill in the blanks or in the tabular form, they can ask you to match it. It will be coming in your exam. The next, we will talk about the activities. The activity of this lesson is also very important. We have the activity 1.1 in which the burning of the magnesium river, the procedure. So why do we always clean the 2 centimeter to 4 centimeter magnesium river with the sandpaper and burn it usually with the spirit lamp? There are two questions are expected here. The why do we use the spirit lamp? Why not the matchstick? You should understand the when you are burning the magnesium ribbon, is suddenly it catches the fire. If you are using the matchstick, you can burn, you can get injured. The second question, when you are, why do we clean the 2 to 4 centimeter before igniting it? Because as I have already explained in the earlier slide, when we leave the magnesium ribbon for the longer period, it gets oxide because of the presence of the oxygen and the moisture in the air. So when it gets oxidized, it's the MgO, magnesium oxide. This magnesium oxide is a reluctant to catch fire. It doesn't support in the burning. So we need to clean it properly. Thereafter, it will catch the fire. Observation: the ribbon burns with a dazzling white flame and changes into the white powder. The white powder is also a magnesium oxide only, that is MgO. Conclusion: this is the combination reaction because the Mg plus O2 is a MgO. So it is a what type of reaction is there? It is a combination reaction. The white powder is a magnesium oxide. The equation is a 2Mg, that is a solid in the state, and the O2 is gas and it is going to form the MgO again. It is a solid. Activity 1.2, reaction of lead nitrate and the potassium iodide. Procedure: mix a lead nitrate solution with the potassium iodide solution in a test tube. What we observe it? A yellow precipitate form immediately. Conclusion: this is the double displacement reaction. The precipitate is a lead iodide. The formula is the PbI2 equation. The PbNO32 is aqueous. When react with the potassium iodide 2Ki aqueous, it is going to form the lead iodide PbI2 solid and the 2KNO3 the aqueous. A reaction of zinc with the dilute acid. This reaction is in which we get the product as a hydrogen gas. Correct? The procedure: add the zinc the granules to the dilute H2SO4, or we can use the hydrochloric acid also. Observation: the bubbles of the gas from around the zinc, the conical flask becomes the hot. Conclusion: this is the exothermic. As I have spoken, the conical flask has become the hot. Means there had been a lot of generation of the propagation or there had been the production of the uh, heat during the reaction. We call it the exothermic displacement reaction. The gas is produced with the hydrogen. The equation is a zinc plus H2SO4 going to form the zinc sulfate plus the H2 gas, and the heat is being released. In the next activity 1.4, the formation of the slack lime. The procedure: add the water slowly to the calcium oxide. The calcium oxide is a quick lime. You can put it into a beaker and the mix with the water. The quick lime is the one which is available in the hardware shop when you go for the white wash. जब आप घर का कलर कराने जाते हैं तो मार्केट में जो लेते हैं वो क्विक लाइम है. उसको जब पानी के अंदर डालते हैं तो क्या होता है? देयर विल बी द हिसिंग साउंड. साउंड विल बी कमिंग एंड यू विल फाइंड दैट वो पूरा गर्म हो जाता है. You will find that where you are putting it, the utensil has become the too hot. The liquid, the aqueous, it has become the very hot. आप तुरंत उसे यूज नहीं करेंगे, नहीं तो हाथ जल हो सकता है. The conclusion: this is a highly exothermic combination reaction. So equation is a CaO plus H2O going to form the CaOH2 plus the heat will be released. In the next slide, we will see the thermal decomposition of the ferrous sulfate. The procedure, the heat green FeSO4 crystal into the dry boiling tube. Observation, the green color that disappears slowly. It turns white, then it again changes into the brown. A smell of the burning sulfur is also detected. Conclusion, the thermal decomposition, the ferric oxide, that is the brown solids, and the SO2 is SO2 and SO3 gas are being released out of that. The equation, the FeSO4 is going to break down into the Fe2O3 plus SO2 and the SO3. In the next slide, we will see the next activity, that is the heating of the lead nitrate. When we heat the lead nitrate powder in the boiling tube, what we observe? We found that the brown fumes are evolved and the yellow residue remains. Conclusion, the thermal decomposition, the brown fumes are, that is nitrogen dioxide, the NO2. The equation is a 2 PbNO3 2 and the 2 PbO plus the 4 NO2 plus the O2. In the next activity, electrolysis of water. This is one of the activity. The procedure, pass electric current through the acidified water. The acidified water is a water in which the few drops of the acid we have put it. The intention of putting the acid to make it the more reactive or the increase the speed of the reaction. It is acting as the catalyst. What is catalyst? The catalyst is the one which do not participate in the chemical reaction but certainly increase the speed of the reaction. That is called the catalyst. So here the acid is acting as a catalyst. Observation, the bubbles form at the both the electrode. In the both the electrode, you will find that there is a formation of the bubbles are there. The volume of the gas at the cathode is double the volume at the anode. Why do you find the cathode, the bubble are double compared to the anode? It happens because, as you know, by mass or the by volume also you can see the H2O. The H2O is a hydrogen is 2 and ratio between the hydrogen oxygen is 2:1. When the two bubbles of the hydrogen is formed, then one bubble of the oxygen is formed. So you will find that always the formation of the hydrogen is 2 and the oxygen is 1. So when the cylinder is being filled up, you will find that in the test tube, the two test tubes are filled. By the time only one test tube of the oxygen is formed, it is because of the ratio. Correct? The conclusion, water decomposes into the hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of 2:1. Remember the hydrogen where it will go. So hydrogen is a by nature it's a H plus, oxygen is a negative by nature. So the hydrogen will go to the cathode and the oxygen will go to the anode because the opposite charges attract each other. So the both are opposite in the nature. So they will attract each other. The equation is 2H2O is going to produce the 2H2 plus O2. In the next slide, we will see the electrolysis of the water is how it is being formed in the lab or in the production where the company or the factory which is producing hydrogen and the oxygen gases. We are talking about the photolysis of the silver chloride. Okay, gentlemen, one thing I forgot. अगर आपको ये अच्छा लग रहा हो, तो please do not forget to subscribe it. Correct? Then only it will encourage me to put more and more slides which will help you. Correct? Please do it. It's a request. Please, 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 and do it. The next in this photolysis of the silver chloride, the procedure is they place the silver chloride in the china dish under the sunlight. Gentlemen, the silver chloride, silver is a costly item. You should put in the china dish. लेकिन यह मत समझना कि for the sake of the dish you will go to the China. It's not the China dish. It's a China dish means it is a clay which we are using. So the silver chloride should not react with the dish or the utensil in which you are putting. ठीक है? ये clay का बना हुआ dish है. ठीक है? The observation, the white powder turns grey. What you will find? The silver chloride, that white powder that will convert into the gray. Conclusion, the photolytic decomposition, that light that breaks the AgCl, that is the silver chloride, into the silver metal and the chlorine gases. The gas will come out of that and you will find the silver metal. So the pure silver metal you can get it from the silver chloride. The equation is a 2AgCl, the produces 2Ag plus the Cl2, the gas. In the next slide, we will see the activity, the iron nails in the copper sulfate. Procedure: deep iron nail into the blue copper sulfate solution for the 20 minutes. Approximately take the time of the 20 minutes. Hello, when I say 20 minutes, you should not say, sir, ये 21 minute हो गया, होगा कि नहीं होगा. इसे approximately timing is a start after the 20 minutes. Observation: the blue color of the solution fades to the light green. The nail becomes the brownish. The conclusion: the displacement reaction. The iron is a more reactive than the copper. The iron is a hyperreactive. It is a more reactive. If you know the reactive series, otherwise in the next slide somewhere I will explain you the activity, the series which is more active and which is the less active. The equation we can see, the Fe plus the CuSO4 is going to form the FeSO4 plus the copper. Correct. In the next slide we will see double displacement, that is the precipitation. The procedure: mix the sodium sulfate and the barium chloride solution. Observation: a white insoluble substance precipitate forms. Conclusion: the double displacement, the precipitate is a barium sulfate, that is BaSO4. Equation is a Na2SO4 plus BaCl2 going to form a BaSO4 plus 2NaCl. In the next slide, we will see the oxidation of the copper. The procedure: the heat copper powder into the China dish. Again, China dish आ गया. So China dish, please don't go to the China for the dish. Correct? The observation: the surface of the copper powder becomes the coated with the black substance. Conclusion क्या हुआ? The oxidation has taken place. The oxidation, the copper reacts with the oxygen to form a copper oxide. The equation is a 2Cu plus O2 is a 2CO. That is the end of the slides. Thank you. इस स्लाइड के साथ हमारा एक्टिविटी खत्म हो गया. मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आप सभी लोग सब्सक्राइब कर दिया होगा. I think you would have done the subscribe, because if you subscribe then only I will be encouraged. I will put more and more slides. In the next, for your reference, I am going to explain about the previous year question. Sometimes I will keep telling the PYQ. The question 1. What happens chemically when the quicklime is added to the water? It has come in the 2019. The question is a short answer type question. The answer is there will be the vigorous reaction occurs to form a slacklime. When you put the quicklime into the water, it will react. So it will form the slacklime. The slacklime, what is the chemical formula for that? CaOH2. The releasing the large amount of the heat. This is the exothermic combination reaction. Is a chemical equation is a CaO plus H2O going to change into the CaOH2. It's aqueous and a lot of the heat will be released. The question number 2. Why is respiration considered and the exothermic reaction? This question has been repeated in 2016 and 2022. During the respiration, the glucose, from where you get the glucose? The glucose is your digested food from the small intestine. When the blood absorb it and take it to the cell, the already you have taken the oxygen in the during the breathing. The oxygen reaches there and it burns in the presence of the oxygen. There, the oxygen gets converted into the carbon dioxide and the H2O is formed. There's a lot of energy is produced in the form of the ATP along with the carbon dioxide and the water. Since the energy is released, it is called the exothermic, because in the reaction the heat is also being released. You find that when you leave the carbon dioxide, the gas is comparatively to the intake to the outtake, you find that it is quite heated up. So it become the exothermic reaction. Now the question number 3. The which gas is evolved when the dilute hydrochloric acid is added to the zinc granules? Answer is very clear. It is a hydrogen gas. Not only this is the zinc. The most of the cases, if you forget also, you remember the only one tips when the metal is reacting with any kinds of the acid, particularly with the high reactive the acid, it is going to form the hydrogen gas. It's going to release. You can test this by bringing the burning the splinter near to the mouth of the test tube. It burns with the pop sound. So this hydrogen can be checked. Remember, there will be the pop sound, and when you go very close to that, it can burn you. So take a lot of care. The question number 4. The differentiate between the displacement and the double displacement reaction with the example. This has also been the repeated question in the 2011, 2015, and the 2018. What can be the answer? The displacement, and the more reactive element displaces the less reactive elements from its salt solution. We know बड़ी मछलियां ऑलवेज छोटी मछली को खा जाती है, तो जो मोर रिएक्टिव है छोटे रिएक्टिव को धक्का मार के उसका जो एलिमेंट है, उसका जो फंक्शनल ग्रुप है, उसका जो आयन है अपने साथ अटैच कर लेता है. द एग्जांपल आई विल गिव यू. द Fe plus the CuSO4 is going to make the FeSO4 plus the Cu. As you know, the Fe is more reactive than the copper. Next example, I'll give the double displacement. The two compounds react by and the exchange of the ion to form a new compound. The example is Na2SO4 plus the BaCl2 is going to form the BaSO4 plus the NaCl. In this, you find that their functional group has been interchanged. The next question is, why do we apply paint or iron articles? The answer is next question is, why do we apply paint on the iron articles? संदीपा, this answer I expect from you. क्योंकि आप लोग 7th 8th में भी पढ़ चुके हो कि आयरन के ऊपर पेंट हम क्यों लगाते हैं. I need not reply. The question number 6. What is the decomposition reaction? Why it is called the opposite of the composition reaction? This is also the repeated question from the 2017 and 2023. The decomposition reaction at the single reactors break down it to give a two or the more simple products. However, in the combination reaction, two or the more reactants combine to form a single product. So that's why we call it is the opposite of the composite combination reaction. The decomposition, the AB, is going to break down into the A plus B, and in the combination reaction we find that A plus B is going to form the AB. Next question. Explain the electrolyte decomposition of water with a level diagram. This is also a repeated question, 2012, 19 and 22. When the electricity is passed through the acidified water, already I have explained the acidified water. The acidified, once more I repeat, the acidified water is a water in which the few drops of the acids are put. It decomposes into the hydrogen and the oxygen gases. Gentlemen, remember there are the two electrodes are there. One is a cathode, another is a anode. I think by this time you must be aware. The cathode is one which is connected with the battery to the negative terminal, and anode is one which is connected to the battery, the positive terminal. So that cathode, the hydrogen gas is collected at the anode. The oxygen gas is collected. Observation: the volume of the oxygen is less compared to the hydrogen, because as per the volume, if you go, that is a S2 means we get the 2 atom of the hydrogen and 1 atom of the oxygen. So the 2 part of the hydrogen for the every 1 part of the oxygen. Equation is 2S2 is going to break down into the 2S2 plus O2. In the next slide, the next question we get, define oxidation and reaction in the terms of the gain or loss of the oxygen. Identify the substance oxidized and reduced in the following 2000. This has been repeated in the 2015 and 2020. The answer you can note it down. Oxidation, the gain of oxygen, or the gain of oxygen or the loss of the hydrogen is said to be the oxidation. Remember, gentlemen, it's a compare between the reactant and the product. So you have to calculate in between. You have to compare between the reactant and the product. The reduction, the loss of oxygen or the gain of the hydrogen is said to be the reduction. Correct? In this equation, the substance, the oxidized the H2. The H2 gain the oxygen to become the H2O. When the H2 get the oxygen, it's become the H2O. So there is a gain of the oxygen. So we say it is oxidized. Where and the substance reduces the copper oxide loses oxygen to become the copper. So we say it is a reduced copper is a reduced. The oxidizing agent is a CO and the reducing agent is a. This is the end of the PRQ. Now we will start talking about the MCQ. The few MCQ will important MCQ we will see. The question was, when the lead nitrate powder is heated to the boiling tube, the brown fumes are evolved. These fumes are due to the options are given. Option number A, PBO. Option number 2, NO2. Option number 3, the O2, and the option number 4, the N2. The correct answer is NO2. The NO2 is a correct answer. The reason, in the reaction of the MnO2 plus the 4HCl, it is going to become the MnCl2 plus 2H2O plus the Cl2. Which substance is the oxidizing agent? The answer is the choice is given MnO2, HCl, MnCl2, and fourth option is the Cl2. Answer is MnO2. Reason is also given at the bottom. Please go through, but try to memorize and understand the things. In the next question, the electrolysis of the water is a decomposition reaction. The mole ratio of the hydrogen and oxygen gases liberated during the electrolysis of the water is option number 1, 1:1, 2:1, the 4:1, and the 1:2. The correct answer is a 2:1. We know that H2 is a hydrogen 2 and the oxygen 1. The reasoning is also given at the bottom. The next question number 4. Which of the following are the exothermic the process? The reaction of the water with the quicklime, dilution of an acid, the evaporation of water, sublimation of the camphor. The sublimation, I think you must be memorizing what is sublimation. The answer is given 1 and 2, the second option 2 and 3, 1 and 4, and the 3 and the 4. Answer correct is 1 and 2. Reasoning is already given at the bottom. In the last MCQ slides is a dilute ferrous sulfate solution was gradually added to the beaker containing the acidified permanent solution. The light purple color of the solution faded and finally disappeared. Which of the following is a correct explanation for the observation? Please go through the correct answer and the explanation, and you can very well comment on the channel. Now we will study some case. The particular case, the case is study number 1. The mystery of the self-heating construction material. A construction worker Rahul was preparing a mixture to the whitewash building. He took a solid white substance A in the large metal bucket and slowly added water to it. He noticed the following. The mixture started boiling vigorously with the hissing sound. The bucket became so hot that he could not touch it. After applying the resulting suspension B to the wall initially looked transparent and wet, but after 3 days they developed a brilliant white shining finish. C. Already I have explained you. I think you must be knowing the question. What can be the question? The identify A, B, and C. The what? Second question. What type of the chemical reaction occurs when the A is mixed with the water? Write the balance equation. Third, the what why does the signing finishes take the 2 to 3 days to appear? Write the chemical equation for this specific process. If Rahul had used a plastic bucket instead of the metal one, what risk might he have to face?
The answer, the first answer, A. The calcium oxide. A is a calcium oxide, that is the quicklime. The B is a calcium hydroxide, that is the slackline. The CaOH2, the suspensor, and the C is a calcium carbonate, CaCO3. That's answer number 2. It is a combination reaction and the highly exothermic. The 3 is a chemical reaction. CaO plus H2O is going to form the CaOH2 plus heat. The answer number 3. The shiny finish is due to the slow reaction of the slackline with atmospheric carbon dioxide to form a thin layer of the calcium carbonate. The chemical equation is CaOH2 plus CO2 is going to form the CaCO3 plus the H2O. The answer number 4. Since the reaction is highly exothermic, the intense heat released could melt or deform a low quality plastic bucket. In the next slides, we will see the another case study, that is the green crystal and the pungent gas. In a chemistry lab, a student is given the pale green crystal of the substance X. The teacher asks the student to heat the crystal in a dry boiling tube. The student observes a green color first changes to the dirty white. On further heating, the brown solid Y is formed. The two gases G1 and the G2 are evolved. Both gases have the smell of the burning sulfur. When the paper dipped in the acidified the potassium dichromate solution is held near the mouth of the tube, it turns from the orange to the green. The question is the identify the X, Y, Z1 and Z2. Explain why the color changes from green to white before turning brown. Write the balanced chemical equation for the decomposition of X. Identify the nature, that is the acid or base, of the gases Z1 and Z2. In the next, we will say the answer. The X is a ferrous sulfate crystal, that is FeSO4 or the 7H2O. The Y is a ferric oxide, that is Fe2O3. The G1 is a gas, that is a sulfur dioxide, and the G2 is another gas, that is a sulfur trioxide. The answer number 2. The initial green color is due to of the water of the crystallization 7H2O. Heating remove this water, turning it into the anhydrous, that is a FeSO4, that is a white in color. The further heating breaks the chemical bonds to form a brown Fe2O3. Answer number 3. The 2 FeSO4 is going to change into the Fe2O3 plus SO2 plus SO3. The answer number 4. The both SO2 and the SO3 are acidic oxide. When dissolved in the moisture, they form the sulfurous and the sulfuric acid respectively. This is the end of the slide. Thank you very much. The more, if you have forgot to subscribe, please do subscribe. इसे भूले नहीं, because it only will encourage me to put more and more slide. आप हमारा साथ दो, हम आपका साथ देंगे. We are always with you. हम retired Air Force officer will always with you whenever we are the person who touches the sky always with the glory. The more and the more notes you can get it in the description box. Thank you very much. Thanks.